and welcome to our Dexter discussion. This is our new thing we're discussing. We are no longer discussing American Horror Story. Now it's all about Dexter, which
Yay!
makes yes, it's a lot easier to do this.
So much happier about
It's
it.
not as painful.
Yeah.
It's actually got, I don't know, a lot more substance to it than
Yeah.
American Horror Story did. A lot better acting. Well, no, I'm not going to say no, not better acting. I'm sorry. I take that back. I mean, it's great acting, but I mean, I meant better script, better directing, better storytelling, better.
Yeah. Pretty much better everything else. Yeah.
Yep. And I'll wait to put the bingo card in there, but we do have a bingo card that I've made for Dexter. I'm going to try and keep track. I've got it printed out here, so I'm going to try and keep track. Dexter is the free space, duh. So we've both laughed already, so I'm gonna X that out. I don't think we've done anything else, said anything else on here, but well, I'm gonna count talking about American Horror Story as a random fandom mention. So there you go.
There you go.
We kind of did, yeah.
Checking them off already.
Yeah. So as everybody knows who has listened to the show, I have been so extremely excited for Dexter to come back that Jen, who's with me, my beautiful, wonderful podcast brain twin, was very concerned about me being so excited about it coming back.
I'm still concerned.
But Jen, on a scale of 1 to 5, how many blood slides do you give this first episode of Dexter?
I'll give it a good 4. Good, solid, nice 4 clean blood slides. Organized blood slides.
4 clean and organized blood slides.
Just the 4 to run the fingers down. It was good. It was a solid premiere. It was a nice way to reintroduce the character and kind of get caught up to where he's at right now.
Yeah.
And then to bring the Dexter we all know and love back. So it was good. I liked it.
I love that look. It's like you don't want to admit that you actually liked it.
Because I was so pissed off with the Dexter finale, and I've to the point where I've been rewatching Dexter, the original run, and I'm like reminded about how much I loved it, why I loved it, why I like these characters and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the hate for the finale like just blinded me to everything else. So that's why I've been so reserved in my excitement for this, because I'm like, I don't want to be let down again. I don't want my heart broken again, Dexter. So that's why I'm still very cautiously optimistic. I'm just like, okay, This was good. I liked it. I when my husband and I watched it the other night, I called a few things, but that's neither here nor. Like I said, it was kind of needed to bring Dexter back. So 4. He gets 4 tonight.
4. Okay. I
Can you?
And I will preface this by saying I totally understand that, because like I have said a million times, this would be my all-time favorite show. It would seriously be on top of Queer as Folk if it wasn't for that final season. That final season ruined so much, because I still think season 4 of this show is the best season of any television show, period. Hands down. I don't think anything has ever topped that. I don't know if anything ever will. So, yes, I was so heartbroken by that finale, because it was such a slap in the face of everything the show was about. The way Deb was treated, everything like that, the way they left Dexter, being a lumberjack was just so ridiculous and stupid. So, and then having Harrison go off with Hannah and all this stuff made no sense to me.
Yeah.
But when I saw it was the original showrunner was coming back, I don't know, there was something about that, and the fact that there was so much time in between, it made it feel like, okay, maybe it's going to go back. And to the way it felt before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it did. And I'm going to try not to be too nice. I'll give it a 4.5.
Okay.
It's funny because I am not an optimistic person at all, but I'm like, I was just so excited to have Dexter back and to have Michael C. Hall back. Beyond even just having Dexter back was so much fun. And then having Deb and knowing Deb was going to be in it. And because Deb dying was one of the worst things this show, it was the worst thing, hands down, the show did. Yeah. Was her dying and the way that she died. And it pissed me off so much because she's my all-time favorite female character. So the way she was treated was just atrocious. Mm-hmm. So I give it 4.5. I am optimistic. I think there are a couple scenes in this that are so good. I mean, just so good. Like when we were doing the live tweet, I kind of didn't want to tweet during them, and I did a little bit, but I was kind of like, I just wanted to watch the scene.
Me too.
We'll get into those, but so, and I know someone's watching us, so hi,
hello.
I did put the bingo card in there, and we've already said, I'll just go over this really quickly. Dexter's the free space. Blood, we've already talked about Blood. Michael C. Hall was mentioned. Deb was mentioned. We all laughed. We mentioned a random fandom in the beginning. I think that is, Harrison. I mentioned Harrison. And I think that's all we've mentioned so far. So if you get bingo, you get a free podcast pin, and or a magnet, you can decide. And it's still going to be with our horror logo which you can't really see it very well there, but because I have a lot of those and I love them. I'm not saying it like,
like, I got so many of these.
I just want to get rid of them.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it to sound like that, but yeah. So anyway, okay. So when Dexter New Blood opens, Dexter is living in a snowy. Now, I'm trying to remember. Did they actually say what town this is in? Did I just miss it?
I don't know. Is he in Oregon?
Well, because that's where he was before.
Yeah.
But I that's the one thing I wasn't sure on, and I should have looked it up. But for some reason, I'm sure they mentioned the town, and I'm just not remembering it.
Yeah, so small, so tiny. Because we were thinking, I couldn't remember, and I was like, I think it's Oregon. But my husband likes a lot of like the Alaska shows, and so we watch a lot of those. So we're just like, oh, whatever, fine. Yeah. It's Alaska. There's snow. He's wearing overalls. There's axes and fired wood chopping. It's homesteading.
There's axes and fire and wood chopping. But Dexter is living in this snowy town. I'm just going to call it Snow Town because it's different than, where he was living in warm Miami. And he's going by the name of Jim. I mean, that's his first. Why am I forgetting the last
Jim
name?
Lindsay, because it's a first name, last name thing.
Well, and what it is it's a tribute to the author of the Dexter novels.
Oh.
So that's where that comes from. Just a little trivia there. But we find him there. He's dating the sheriff, Angela. So once again, he's around all these law enforcement people who don't suspect anything. But it's been 10 years since he has murdered anyone. 10 years. So he's basically like, to me, what you're watching in this first episode is an addict who is being presented with all these triggers.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to resist the triggers. And he's got Deb is basically serving like his father did in the first 8 seasons of like his voice of reason, or, and not his dark passenger, but serving as like kind of that voice in his head. I don't know how you
I was thinking more of just like his conscience and like that guilty conscience of like you can't go and, do this, and this is why we have to stay here, and just kind of reminding him and hammering all that stuff in to keep him in his routine. So maybe she'll take a turn, but I think that'll be her role this season primarily.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I mean, I think it was a great decision to have Deb there just because of the loss of Deb was so traumatic, I think. Yeah. So did you like having her there and her role and their scenes together? Because they have a lot of interesting scenes in this first episode.
I did. And knowing that, what's her name? Jennifer Carpenter?
Yes, Jennifer Carpenter.
So knowing that she was coming back and knowing that her character died, it was like, okay, so it's either got to be like the dark passenger type
Mm-hmm.
or just within flashbacks. So when she appears as his guilty conscience, it was nice to see that that was the route that they went versus dark
Mm-hmm.
passenger right away. Like I said, it could shift, but I think that's the role she's going to play, is trying to remind him, like, these last 10 years, this is what we, you're starting to break everything we've worked towards these last 10 years
Mm-hmm.
and why, and just hammering in that guilt. So I think it'll be interesting. And it was kind of nice to see Jennifer Carpenter back, and it'll be interesting to see just how this idea of Deb morphs over the season, if it does at all, and if she even stays. Maybe, who knows, maybe he goes super dark passenger and he's like, nope, we're done.
Well, I really hope she stays, because I'll be very sad if we lose her again. Excuse me. I'm gonna have to take a sip of water. Sorry. Or tea.
Yeah. Sip away.
Excuse me. Yeah, so I was really happy to see her. And I think some of their I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. I think some of their scenes together were really kind of, I don't know, haunting.
Mm-hmm.
Like the scene when she falls through the sorry.
Through the ice.
Falls through the ice.
Mm-hmm.
That was like
the one where he's trying to sleep and
yes,
she's kind of,
yeah.
Oh, that one's really uncomfortable for me. That one's like the creepiest one out of all their interactions in this first episode, because again, it's what he's thinking.
Yeah, so it's not really her.
Yeah, so it's him saying these things to himself, but through the voice of Deb, and then her being all like, and I love you for it. Like, first of all, I hated that fucking storyline in that last season. I'm like, I think I love you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It reminded me a little of that, and it just made me mad and grossed out at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I think it was supposed to make you uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was the impression I got.
Yeah.
Because it is very, she's like, I'm glad I went first. I couldn't have handled and all that stuff. And also, of course, like you said, knowing that they decided to go the route where she was saying she was secretly in love with him, which was so wrong.
It was so stupid.
It was icky and wrong. And I don't care that they weren't related by blood. Yeah. They were brother and sister. So it's just wrong.
Yes.
And that would have never, I don't think that was true to who the character was anyway. Mm-hmm. So, and even though it was creepy, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting the way they did it. And I almost wonder, because right after that scene, right after she's in bed with him basically, and says that stuff to him and says she loves him, the very next scene you see is probably the best scene, I think, in the whole episode. I think it's tied with the end scene. Well, not the end scene, but when Dexter finally comes back.
Yep.
He falls off the wagon, so to speak.
Yep.
But throughout this episode, you keep seeing these scenes where Dexter's running with a rifle, and looks like he's hunting this deer, this white deer. And he never shoots it. And then the third time you see him hunting the deer, he stops and puts the rifle down. And the deer is a little bit timid, scared. And then he's like, the way Michael C. Hall says, please, please, please. Like, he's just, it's like, please, please. Oh, you could dissect that in so many different ways. And the deer comes up to him. It's just, so I want to know your thoughts on the deer overall, because the deer seem to be such a pivotal thing. I mean, I think that is really what kind of just was like the final match when the deer gets shot by the awful Matt Caldwell. So what were your thoughts on that deer overall, all the scenes with the deer and what that deer represents?
So at first, I'll admit, I was a little confused. I was like, is this, because this episode opens with him running in the forest and stuff. I was like, so is this just like his exercise or something? Because I'm like, you can't actually be hunting. You're too loud. You're making too much noise. But I get it. It's like he's he's chasing this albino, this white deer, and it's like he's chasing kind of that innocence and purity that he's trying to hold on to and letting go of that dark passenger. And so that's kind of how I saw it. And so he finally gets this chance where he gets out, he has his like Disney princess moment, and he gets to go pet it and everything. And then that asshole shoots it, which that was one of the scenes I called. I was like, that fucker's going to shoot it. And then that's going to trigger Dexter to, basically fall off the wagon. And I was like, and it'll be great, but that's what's going to happen. And so, which is fine. So that's obviously, he can't obtain that rarity, that purity, or whatever he might have been chasing, that white deer symbolized, because now it's gone and we've got our beautiful bright red blood back and the voiceover back. Oh, I was so happy when that came back. So I'm like, it's creepy without the voiceover.
That's true.
Watching him,
it's very different.
Yes, watching him in that first half of that season and knowing or episode and knowing who Dexter is, and just knowing that he's just fucking dying inside. He hates every single second, but he's going through the motions. He's smiling, still a little dead behind the eyes because he hates it. Hates everything. So the second, the deer went bye-bye and we get that voiceover, I was like, yes! Okay, that's when I got excited.
That's when you got excited, huh?
And so then I started getting all stressed out again, because that was one of the things about the first few seasons of Dexter was the kill scenes always stressed me out. I'm like, you're taking too much time, way too much talking. Hurry it up, fucking just let's go. And so then when he's like doing up his little shed and everything in the plastic, because even before that, I was like, you think he still has a huge like backstock of plastic somewhere nearby? I was like, or do you think, I'm talking to my husband, I was like, or do you think he's going to do something? Will he change it up?
Yeah.
Like his kill site or whatever. And he's like, no, he's got plastic. He's got to keep that. So then when he tore apart like that really nice greenhouse, his poor plants, he's like, see, going back to his roots. I was like, all right. So yeah, I liked the deer scenes.
Yeah, I mean the deer scenes were so interesting to me, because it really was like he's a monster. I mean, he is not a good person. That's the thing about Dexter, is even though I really was fine with him killing Matt Caldwell, I was perfectly fine with that. That guy was an asshole. And anyone who kisses a gun the way that he kissed a gun, and all his
shouldn't own a gun.
Stupid. Oh gosh, he's so gross.
He was the worst.
And so I was perfectly fine with him dying. But I think that's the thing that you kind of struggle with when you watch Dexter, because, and you're supposed to, but Dexter is a serial killer. He just is a serial killer. He's a murderer. He's a monster. I mean, he even says he's a monster, but he's an evolving monster. As he likes to say. So that is that thing that you struggle with, where you're like, okay, I'm really glad that Dexter is back to being Dexter while you're watching this. Then you're like, why would you be glad that someone's back to killing people? Because that's not something you should be rooting for, even if the person is a horrible, awful person. But so that's the struggle all the time with Dexter, I think, when you watch it, because to me, the ideal ending, and a lot of people are suspecting this is actually how this is going to end. The ideal ending for me is Dexter dying or getting caught, honestly, because I don't know. I don't think there's any other way you could actually logically end this. That's why the series finale was so horrible. So so the deer stuff to me was like, okay, here's this person who has done these murdered like dozens and dozens of people, got away with it, and now he's not killing. So he's kind of like, he's like an addict who's trying to clean up his act. He's trying to act normal. And you watch through the whole thing, and this is why Michael C. Hall is just such an amazing actor. But you watch through the whole thing how he'll do these little movements and these little eye flinches, and you can see how hard it is for him, and how he keeps getting drawn back. Like, there's a case going on that is probably going to be the running thing through the whole thing of these women disappearing, and you can see it trigger something in him. He's like, okay, no, I'm going to change the subject.
Yep.
And then when Matt Caldwell comes along and he gets flagged during the background check, and that triggers something and all this stuff, and he's like trying to ignore it. And it's all these little triggers. And I think the deer was like this thing he was trying to hold on to of like, I'm going to stay on the wagon. I'm going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And when he goes up to the deer and he's trying to get the deer to come up to him, I think that was his last attempt to plead, to be like, let me have something pure that actually can come and like me and wants to touch me. Because what's interesting is you see him with animals during this season, which that was not a thing for Dexter. Dexter, kids, yes, but Dexter was never about animals. Like animals never liked him.
Mm-hmm.
Like dogs were always suspicious of him because dogs know that kind of stuff. And he had killed animals when he was a teenager. So that was what was also interesting, is it was like, okay, instead of having young kids be the innocent thing, it's this deer, this purity. And then the second that deer is killed, that one last thing he was holding on to, that was just like it. Mm-hmm. He was just like, that's it. I can't do this. I wanted to kill you anyway, so I'm just going to kill you.
Yep.
And you could see when he plunges that knife into him, the little look on his face of like relief was just, it was chilling. Actually,
it was.
I mean, so scary in that scene. That's what I want to say. When Dexter becomes the real Dexter, that's to me the real Dexter, when he's murdering and killing people, he is downright freaky. He is so scary. He's so scary.
He's very scary, but there's always been something kind of sexy about that. Now, I admit I'm not all right in the head. So I like the villains. I like a charming, my friend Laura and I have talked about it on the podcast in various episodes. We just have a soft spot for like really charming, charismatic psychopaths. And now that I think about, like, Dexter might have a really big role in that. So it pained me to see him walk around as Jim Lindsay and like, go Hawks. And it's still with the super sus donuts. Cause I'm sorry, anyone that still brings donuts every single day, that is questionable in nature, and they should be red flagged and tailed and everything. Like that's, although those donuts did look really fucking good.
They looked so good.
Oh my God.
I always am like, I should eat donuts when I'm watching Dexter.
No shit. Oh, that's a good idea. Donut party for the finale.
That's what I'm going to do. Yes. Donuts and nachos.
Yes.
Let's eat nachos now, but sorry. Go
ahead. Oh, that's all right. Now I got me thinking about nachos.
Or tuna fish sandwiches. That'd be a weird combo. Never mind.
Oh man, and that was hilarious too. He was so pissed about his sandwich, but that's part of his routine, right? We assume that him going there for his lunch and trying to maintain that, now you have this rich asshole that's going to shut it down because he can, and fuck him and his hot chocolate. So I get that Dexter was pissed off about his sandwich. I totally would be too. And it's like, you could see a little bit of that darkness there too, where he's just like, not getting my sandwich today.
Yep. And the way everybody else is looking at him like, who cares?
Yeah, like, calm down, man. Clearly there's bigger things going on
than your stupid sandwich.
But that's why I love him, is because he's just nuts. And he's cuckoo pants. But just fun to watch and funny. Because we get our dark Dexter back, and so when Caldwell's like, "Oh, I had a shitty childhood," his whole reaction, body language, and the way he's just like, he's got the knife over his head, but then he's just so like, "What the fuck?" that he's like, rests his hands on his head, like, "Are you shitting me right now with this line?" And why he didn't just stab him right then and there, I don't understand, but that's all right.
That was hilarious.
Because exactly, you can't, not with Dexter, you can't use bad parenting as an excuse for being a shitty person.
I know. Look at Dexter, how Dexter. Yeah. He's like, are you kidding me?
Look, at least
I was locked in a container with blood everywhere. Are you kidding me? You want to talk about shitty childhoods?
Yep. Oh man. But yeah, I love Dexter, and I'm glad. I was so happy to see him come back, and I like watching him kill. It does make me really nervous because I'm just like, it's taking so long. And plus, it's like there's snow everywhere, so there's tracks,
Yeah, I
footprints
know.
everywhere. It's a
Mhm.
lot harder to get away with things because he always did that shit in the original run. He'd be running around in his kill clothes,
Yep.
sometimes with gloves, which was suspicious, and then without gloves and still touching everything. And I'm like, what are you doing? So I got a little bit of that back. And I like it.
And I love that you're like, and he's so sexy when he's killing his Dexter. Well, there is. I mean, Michael C. Hall is a very attractive man. I mean, he just is. And when he does, there's something about that. I totally know what you're saying. Like,
It's the look,
he's
the eyes or
scary,
something.
but he's also like, you're kind of like,
I like
okay,
it.
you know, there's kind of like that party that's like, okay, you can handcuff me to the bed and maybe.
Why does it always go there?
It's me. So that's
Is that going to be any room with Finn and Darren? And
man, you put a lot of images in my head. Okay.
Sorry.
Those are some interesting images I just
You're welcome.
I'll have a huge California king size bed.
Oh, bed
Anyway.
posts to the ceilings. You know, so they can't get out.
This is not really something that's going to happen, by the way.
Of course not.
But no, I know what you're saying. Because he, and plus, I think Michael C. Hall, as I've said, I love him so much. And Carla is going to be joining some of ours. So I have on the bingo thing mouth breathing because she always complains about it.
He's such a mouth breather. He is, though.
But I did not notice this ever until we did our first Dexter episode and last year, and she brought that up. And I had to defend Michael C. Hall episode because I mean, I see it. I see, I notice it now more. I never noticed it before because I just didn't. But I mean,
and the face too. I mean, because he's mouth breathing, so he was always like, and the way, and maybe it's because he's like studying people that he just kind of makes that face. I can't explain it, but yeah, I don't know if I ever noticed it the first time watching Dexter, but I have definitely noticed it during my rewatches. And I'm just kind of like, why? Is it really muggy down there? Like, is that the only way you can breathe? It's just, sorry.
I was going to say, we're not going to be talking about this much tonight, but it's not here. But I guess I'm going to have to keep defending Michael. No. You know, what's going to be interesting is we're going to be talking about 6 Feet Under next year. We're doing an episode on that. And of course, Michael C. Hall is in that. Very different character. Very different. One of my favorite characters, though, because I think that character, David, have you watched 6 Feet Under?
I have only like little bits and pieces, but not enough to say that I know what you're talking about.
Because you should watch it, though, because the character growth that he has in that show is incredible. But he's so good in that show. And so I'm like, when I go back and watch that, I'm going to have to see if there's any mouth breathing. If it's just an actor trait he does, like it's some kind of match or something. I don't know. But I think he's amazing. And I'm holding out hope. And I know I should not hold out hope for this because I'm sure it will not happen. But I always wanted him to win an Emmy for Dexter. I think it is absolutely criminal that he didn't win one for season 4, at least. So my hope is somehow this happens now that he's back because he can now. So maybe it'll happen. I don't know.
They'll just right all the wrongs with this season. Just fix everything.
Please. And then Oh man, if that happens and then I have to put Queer as Folk on a number 2 spot, woo.
Now, do you really think like this season could make up for, because me personally, it was everything after season 4. It just paled in comparison. 5 and 6 were okay, but I didn't even remember Hannah. I didn't remember who the hell she was or that storyline. So that tells you how great that season was. So do you think this season could make up and really boost Dexter back up in your rankings?
I mean, honestly, that's a hard one because you're right. I mean, I was a lot easier on Dexter than a lot of other people were. Like, I honestly was okay with a lot of 5 and 6 and some of 7. And 8 is atrocious, but
let's not talk about that one.
So that's a good question for me to actually really ponder, because I'll have to think about that, because I don't know. I think it honestly would be just me having to watch it, because it would actually have to do a lot. I mean, a lot. I think what I don't think is possible, what I think would probably hold it back from happening, is the fact that Deb is still dead. And that didn't get retconned, nothing like that. Which I'm glad in a way it didn't, just because I think it would have been stupid for them to be like, oh, this was all a dream and this didn't, or something like that. You know? And then like it's like right after Rita was murdered or something. If they had retconned all the way back to that, would have been really dumb.
Yeah.
But so I think the fact that Deb will still be dead and the way that Deb died will probably always prevent it from doing that. So probably not. I mean,
but it could really give it a boost though.
Well, it's still number 2 for me. I mean, honestly, even though it did that stuff to me, it's still my second favorite show. Even though it did horrible things, it just is. I just, I can forgive a lot more from it, except for that last season, than I can a lot of shows. So,
gotcha. I was just curious.
No, that was a good question. And you know who is? Do you know all the people that are coming back? Because I don't know if I want to.
I think like almost everyone, right? And so maybe not.
Well, I don't actually know if everyone. I know certain, because who's coming.
Lot.
You know what?
Just say it.
Because I don't know. So this is a big spoiler if anyone's watching. Spoiler. I mean, it's been all over everything. So if you don't know, whatever. But John Lithgow is coming.
Oh, yes, I did hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting.
So I'm very curious about that and how they're going to do that. Because, when they announced Jennifer Carpenter was coming back, you kind of figured Dark Passenger or something like that. But with John Lithgow, it's like, is it going to be more like a flashback kind of thing? Or is throughout the season, are the different like victims and dead people in Dexter's life going to kind of take turns being a dark passenger in these different situations that's coming up in Oregon or wherever the hell they're at? So kind of, I'm curious as to how they're going to do that. So.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that. It could be, definitely. I mean, it could also be, in season 4. Was it season 4 when his brother came back and he went on that little road trip? Wasn't that season 4? And he just kind of let go, and his brother like was in his mind, and he went to like the gas station and he did all that stuff. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I don't remember.
I wish I could remember, because that was one of the best episodes the show did, and now I can't remember. But so it could be something like that, where Arthur comes back and he's like pushing him to do more stuff. It could be that. But the only thing that makes me hesitate on that is that his brother, he actually loved his brother. I mean, I don't think he can ever really love his brother. He didn't really love Arthur, so it's not, he hates him. So I don't think that would be something that, I don't know.
I feel like if Arthur comes back in that dark passenger kind of capacity, just someone in his head, it's going to be more of an antagonist. Someone I think that's really going to like just pick at Dexter and whatever the scenario is, and kind of maybe push him to do one thing, you know, while Dexter struggles with maybe not wanting to do that thing or not doing that thing that certain way. So, but I love John Lithgow, so I can't wait.
I know. And that was like creepiest
that was the
serial
best
killer that has ever been, ever.
Great season.
Another reason. Yeah, the Thanksgiving episode still is that is one of the creepiest episodes I've ever seen of television. Seriously. Season 4 of Dexter
is tops.
It's just and it's after season 4 that the original showrunner left. So that's a lot
that makes sense.
But see, he's back, so you got to know what I'm feeling.
See, and yeah, kind of once it was announced and all these little pieces were being revealed, you know, original showrunner and everything coming back, it's like, okay. So I understand people being excited for it. I get that, but I'm worried for all of us. I'm projecting my concern. That's what's actually happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, trust me, if it lets me down in the end, I will be
it will get loud. People will need to
I won't
adjust
even
their
be
volume.
able to forgive Michael C. Hall. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, well, I want to know, because Harrison is in this. Harrison comes back. And there is a theory, because I want to know a little bit of your theory of where you think things are going. There's a theory going around that Harrison may have some of his father's stuff. Do you think that is true? And would you want that to be the case?
So when it comes to Harrison, I right away did not give a shit if that character came back. Because the way I saw it, no matter what, like, I will be shocked. I think they would have to, because no matter how I see it, it's kind of predictable whether he's got a little bit of a dark passenger. Maybe he's the one that's kidnapping all these girls. Like, all right, yeah, we kind of saw that coming. And so then down that plot line, Dexter going to be the Harry figure to Harrison's Dexter, and are we going to kind of see that, and then will that end up leading to the end of Dexter? Because I agree, he has to die or get caught in like trial of the century and then dies. He has to die.
He has to. I'm sorry, but he has to.
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking before the episode aired was that maybe Harrison, and I guess maybe I don't know if the age works out, but I was like, what if he's like a cop in training or a cop or something? And, you know, maybe because everyone's cops and their family, he's surrounded by them. He can't keep himself away from them. So, and then it's like, so then what if Harrison's like a cop, like undercover to find Dexter and bring him back and, you know, double cross and yada, yada. And I don't know. I don't see them doing anything with the Harrison character that I'm going to like or give a shit about.
Wow. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So we know where you stand on that.
If they go that he's a junior killer, and then Dexter kind of takes that Harry route, I wouldn't mind seeing that, because I think that could play out interestingly versus the other shit I was just spouting off about. That's way more cuckoo, I think. But if they did that, I would be shocked.
Oh, that's so funny. You don't care. You don't care though. So
I mean,
I get it. I get it.
He was just your standard baby small child in a show where you hardly saw him. He's always being shipped off here and there. And it's like, yeah, everything Dexter was trying to do, he's trying to do for his kid, but which in turn made him an absentee father. So I became an absentee viewer when it came to Harrison.
That's funny. But Dexter's back. So
yeah.
I mean, I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say Harrison is not a little child anymore, though.
Yes.
So it's not like it's a little baby running around.
So now Dexter's interested, and he's like, hey, now I'll spend some time with you. Some quality father-son killing time.
A little kid. He's just a little kid sitting there. Harrison, you haven't aged a bit. What the heck happened?
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, what the hell is going on with this show?
Oh my God. Time travel.
Frozen. Yeah, time travel. here, Dad, to tell you not to do this thing.
I've come back.
It's so weird. Like, oh no, we're back in the Ryan Murphy universe. Damn it.
Shit, what happened?
We were watching Dexter. What the hell? So my thoughts on Harrison.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I actually don't want Harrison to be like Dexter. That's probably an unpopular opinion. Sounds like it, since you kind of were like, okay, it might be interesting. Oh, Aaron's here.
Hi.
Aaron, hi. People have come in and out, but you're the first person to say hello to us, so thank you. You can play along with the bingo card if you want. I'm sure you would get everything, since the only thing we haven't mentioned, I'm not going to say, but we've mentioned pretty much everything on the bingo card. So if you want to play along for one of the pins you made, Aaron, you made them yourself, you can play bingo. Yeah, so you get to keep one of those. I think you already have a bag full of them, so go ahead and keep those, Aaron. But Harrison, I don't want him to be like Dexter, because I don't know. I think that's cliche. I think that's kind of been there, done that. That's why I actually think it'd be more interesting if he was investigating Dexter, or found out about Dexter, or I don't know, something like
just on that other end.
Yeah, but I kind of like it. I loved the scene when Dexter first sees Harrison and realizes who he is, and says Harrison, and the way he says that and how he kind of moves forward instantly. It's like this first moment where you really see like genuine, quote unquote, human emotion. And he's kind of moving forward, and then Deb stops him, and all that. But I don't know, the way that scene was played, where you could tell he really wanted to go to his son. He wanted to be with his son. And then when he finally lets Dexter out, and he's like, fuck this, man. I'm going to go get my son. I'm going to have my family. I'm not, and he even says, I'm not listening to you anymore.
Yep.
And that's it. I am going to be Dexter. I have killed again. Yep.
I've lied to my woman. Lied to my woman. I drove right past her.
That's true. It's like, oh, bye. Yeah, whatever. I'm going to get my son.
Yep.
But what I'm wondering is, how the hell is he going to explain all this stuff? His son is here. His son knows his real name. How the hell is he going to explain this stuff to Angela, to everybody else in the town? He's going to be like,
See, I think he can get away. It depends how much of a backstory Jim Lindsay has, right? Like, how much do they know about him? Did he just appear, and was Dexter always very like withheld in where he grew up, where he's from, more of a mysterious, or just like, oh, I left an old life behind, it was unpleasant, don't want to talk about it. And now it's like, yep, here's my old life I left behind that was unpleasant and I didn't want to talk about it. And people will be like, oh, okay, it's a kid. That makes sense.
You abandoned your son. That's okay.
Yeah, we get that. Welcome to Snowtown.
Snowtown, USA.
Snowtown, USA, where we have checked the boxes of inclusion. We've got Black folks, a disabled woman, gay couple.
That is true. That.
Sorry.
No, it's true. They did. I mean, there is very much the check off. We've got to make sure we've got, representation.
It's literally could have sat there with, yep.
That's true. Yep. That is true. I mean, I do like the way they're sprinkling in real issues, and the way they do it is very kind of subtle. It's not like it's subtle, because Dexter wouldn't give a crap about any of this stuff, honestly, with who he is. It's just not in his nature to be like, I'm going to care. I mean, he cares about killing people that might do this stuff, but only because he's killing them, not because he necessarily even gives a crap.
Right. It's not doing
he cares about his tuna fish sandwich. Yeah. He doesn't care about the environment.
It's not for the cause. It's for his cause. And his cause is cause.
His cause is murder. And being sexy while he does it, like Jen says.
Something about, like I said, okay, so I said this in another episode that Laura and I did. We were talking about Ben Barnes, and he's He's the hottest when he's being a baddie, when he's a villain and he's doing villainy things. Terrible, god-awful, terrible things.
Yeah.
But there's something about the way they make their villain face, their villain face is hot.
So so you don't find Dexter sexy at all unless he's killing people.
Well, I feel like you're oversimplifying, but
sorry.
But I suppose yes.
So when he wants that tuna fish sandwich, when he's line dancing to Blondie, which, like we're saying, who line dances to Blondie? I'm sorry.
Snowtown, USA.
But so when he was line dancing to Blondie, you're like, oh, you are not hot. But then when he has the knife and he's about to plunge it, you're like, holy crap, you're sick as hell.
I mean, let's not lie. Like the point where he hadn't stabbed, he didn't stab him at this point, but the movement, just that sharp, clean movement of bringing the knife up and just being intimidating and scaring that piece of shit.
Well, that piece of shit deserved it. I'm sorry, but
it's about liking the version that's living their true self, living their true lives, and they're being who they are.
You just want people to live their dreams. To live life to the fullest potential.
Yes.
And Dexter
brings him joy. Yes. And it was painful for him and for me, because I'm like, I know you don't like this. I know all you want to do is shoot that kid or cut that. I get it. I'm just like, I can't wait for you to be able to do that.
You're like, it's what it's reminding me of is a totally different kind of character, but it's like with Dylan from Bates Motel. You want to just take him and wrap him in protect him and give him his knife and give him his plastic wrap. Yeah. It's gonna be okay, Dexter. You go and do your thing.
But be quick about it, because it is a process, man.
And you stress me out.
And he stresses me the fuck, and he goes on these rants and he asks questions. Like, dude, just get on with it. I love it.
And meanwhile, I just say, handcuffed to the bed. That's funny.
Good times. Oh, this has been a great conversation. It's getting toasty down in the pod basement. It's getting hot here.
Yes. When we have Michael C. Hall on the podcast, Aaron, reach out to him right now. We could, yeah. And he'll come on one of these and we'll be like, so how does it make you feel uncomfortable when people say that?
I would freeze and just shit my pants and go into like full giggly fangirl moment. I don't know how to handle myself around my friends.
You don't want to do the Michael C. Hall interview with me?
I mean, I'll be there. I don't know how much of an active participant I'll be.
Like, who is that person over there? I'm like, that's Jen. She's just observing. Don't mind her.
She's muted. She can't talk. It's fine.
You can ask him about his not Finn Whitrock hair. Why don't you have hair like Finn Whitrock?
Yeah, why? What's going on with that, Mike? Huh?
What is up with his bangs? Dexter's bangs?
For real. They were like crazy. There was a close-up where I noticed it and I was like, oh, that's not okay. Some of that has to grow out a bit.
It's him trying to be Jim Lindsay. Jim Lindsay doesn't care about his hair.
No, Jim Lindsay does not care about his hair.
All he cares about is getting his damn tuna fish sandwich.
He was so mad.
He was
so great.
It was so funny, especially just watching the reactions of everybody else. Like, who the hell cares?
Yeah,
Do you understand
relax,
what's
man.
going on here? Yeah. And the line dancing. I see the line dancing scene. I'm sorry, there was something about it that was kind of adorable. I know you said it was kind of creepy, but I thought it was kind of adorable in this weird way. I've never thought of Dexter as adorable. So
I mean,
I mean,
I can see that. I guess I could see that. The adorable. Him just trying to fit in, and it's like the community and him trying to be a part of that and live that life and move on and playing along and playing that role. But I mean, I was gonna say I'm a normal person, but I mean I'm not. I'm just like these serial killers. But it's like I don't want to go line dancing either. So
so
to
you
Blondie or not.
So you and Dexter, so you'd like to interview Dexter.
Yeah. I want to interview characters.
That's what I'll do. I'll be like, hey, Michael C. Hall, do you mind coming on and being Dexter? And we're going to interview you as Dexter.
Oh.
Let's get on that. Let's get on that.
Yeah,
Aaron.
let's do that. Yeah,
Aaron A., let's get on that.
Yeah, let's go, Aaron's.
I'd love to just see his reaction to that. That's all I'd want is just his reaction. Are you kidding me? Yeah, no, I want to interview Michael C. Hall. Michael C. Hall has gone on my vision board. I can't believe he hasn't been on my vision board yet. It blows my mind. But he's on there.
Nice.
And so is Jennifer Carpenter. But yeah, I've got a lot of people on that vision board. Some of them, dang it, are going to happen. Anyway,
yeah.
Sorry.
Fuck yeah.
They're all going to happen on the same episode.
Yeah. Just all of them at once.
They'll be like, do you know each other? Let's go around. Everybody introduce each other.
God. Like a corporate
Tell one
meeting.
little fact about yourselves.
No, don't.
What's your favorite role that this person played? That'd be oh my gosh. Can you imagine? I'm just picturing weird combinations of people.
Just the looks.
Like, what the hell is going on? and I won't tell them.
Yeah.
I won't tell them.
Yeah.
This random hodgepodge of people.
It's gotta happen. It's gonna happen now. We put it out there. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. I apologize in advance. And we'll make it a live stream. That'll be even more interesting.
Oh my God, yes. It'll be like all night long.
Yep. That's what I'll do for the marathon live stream. I'll just have random people on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already going to have random people on, but it'll be that kind of random. They'll be like, I have no idea what I signed up for, but okay. They're like, you signed the guest release. You're screwed.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I love
You're stuck now. You're in it.
My interviews are very, very professional. They honestly are.
They are.
This live stream is. I promise I will not talk about handcuffing you to a bed.
But you'll think it.
I'll think it. Yeah. It'll be in the back of my head.
You'll just start blushing randomly.
Yeah, like, what's wrong? Oh, nothing.
Very serious, solemn answer they're giving, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, nothing. I was just thinking, have you ever played a role where handcuffs came into play? Like, what the hell? Okay, we have gone off the rails. This has nothing to do with Dexter anymore.
Thought that's what we were talking about.
Well, no, but I mean, you know what I mean. Yeah, that is. But yeah. Anyway, Aaron's inner monologue. Yeah. My inner monologue. I feel like, okay, never mind. We're not going to go there because then this will end up being rated really NC-17.
Yes.
The fantasy land there. Although, I may have to take one of my guys off the list. I'm kidding. That whole thing is so ridiculous. I'm reading all the. If you don't know, people are very upset with Darren Criss right now because he had a tour and all these dates have been canceled and he hasn't said anything about it or why. And people are furious with him.
Oh no!
Because he's posted a couple things on Twitter and they're just like, the replies are just go read the replies.
Oh, good Lord.
And I mean, I understand it in a respect of like, you've spent all this money on plane tickets, all that stuff. But remember, these people that we love and gush over and talk about handcuffs with,
in our imaginations, not in real life.
And yeah, in our imaginations, and talk and gush about their hair. These are real people. Okay, they're not playthings, and I think we forget that. Anyway, so I'm totally joking about taking him off my. Not Darren, no. I know I was joking. I've got to get rid of my cup now. Dang it. I'm just kidding. And unless I found out something really despicable about the person, this is not a reason. I wouldn't be like, oh.
No.
I mean, I was trying to get people to buy me tickets to this thing, so maybe that's why I'm not upset about it. I'm like, I didn't get to go, so I'm
like, what? It's fine. You guys will be fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Anyway, so back to what we were talking about, Dexter.
Yes.
I think we've kind of covered everything from this episode anyway, so I think that's why we kind of went off the rails there. But so I know you gave this 4. I gave it a 4.5 because I'm being a little bit nicer out of 5. Because I really wanted to give it 5, but I went, no, Erin, you're not giving it a 5.
You're very stern with yourself. Like,
yes, I talked myself out of it.
Little reservations.
Yes, I wanted to, especially for just the deer scene alone. I would have given this a 5. Honestly, I love that scene so much. I could just watch that again and again and again. Anyway, so what was I going to ask you? Oh yeah, so what do you really hope happens in this season? What are your what's your biggest wish?
Oh,
I know that's a big question. Sorry.
Dexter, we need us like long-term forever fans. We need the ending we deserve. And unfortunately, that means that my beloved psychopath needs to die. He has somehow, whether he's caught, whether it's like caught by the cops, it dies that way or something, or it's involving Harrison, or maybe Harrison is put in a position where he needs to put Dexter out of his misery or something. He has to be the one to stop him. That's what needs to happen, is Dexter needs to die. And I don't really care how we get there. I mean, I do. It needs to be good and entertaining and fulfilling, but he's gotta go, man.
As sexy as he is when he's killing, he's gotta go.
He's gotta go. So what about that's me. So you?
That's me too. I want him to die. And it's so weird saying that about a character, but I that's what I wanted to happen last time. We're not going to get this, so I wanted all the people to find out who Dexter was before he died. I thought that was just appropriate. But we're never going to get that. So I want him to die. I want him to be murdered. I would never want it to be like suicide or anything, because number one, I don't think Dexter would ever do that.
No.
And number two, it just would be cheap, I think, in a way. And I wouldn't like that. But he has to die.
Now, do you have a preferred way of him dying? Like by the hands of like another killer, or other vigilante type?
Well, it used to be, when I wanted everybody to find out, I wanted him to be caught and like, maybe die when he's caught by the police, or die in prison or something like that. But now, with where it is now, I think it would be really interesting if he's killed by another killer and somehow that happens. I just think that would be interesting. I don't know necessarily vigilante, or if it's like a townsperson or somebody who's upset because he killed somebody they love or something like that. I think it would be more interesting if it's another killer, just because, I don't know, it's almost like the predator finds another predator that's a little bit stronger and gets the best of him somehow. Because even though he's back to being Dexter, he's still out of practice. I mean, he hasn't killed anyone in 10 years. Like, he even said he was out of practice. He made mistakes. Like someone said, he spit in the snow. what if someone finds that spit and then they can do
Mm-hmm.
DNA? So, you know.
Exactly. Always doing shit. Just
Always making stupid mistakes. Dang it,
stressing me
Dexter.
out. I love it though. I love it. I love shows that just get to me like that. It's good shows. It's good writing.
Yeah.
Good acting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I am glad we're doing this one now. I'm glad this one is a lot less painful. And it's a lot more fun. And that's why I watch it separate and then do these, because I want to absorb it and then be able to do funny live tweets of it. So we will be doing every episode, and then in December we are going to do an actual special podcast episode. It won't be covering all the episodes because I think it'll still be going because there's 10 episodes. So it'll definitely, because I'm assuming they probably won't have one. Well, maybe they'll have one Thanksgiving weekend, but
yeah, I was gonna say, is there any mid-season break or anything that you know about or have seen?
Let me look it up on IMDb really quickly here, because I'm not positive, but anyway, but we're going to be doing live tweets of all of these. There might be some times when maybe it's just me, and I'll just come on here these live streams by myself, and I'll be like, I'll just talk about Michael C. Hall, and then.
And you can say all your things, and you can be like, look, Harrison is important and and relevant.
And leave Michael C. Hall alone about his mouth breathing, dang it.
Oh.
But yeah. But I'm looking at the dates here. No, they even are showing one the day after Christmas. So the last one airs January 9th. And
okay.
I'm not going to tell you what the title of the last one is. Never mind. You can look that up yourself if you want to know. I'm not going to tell because I don't want it to be on here. But people can look it up because that'll probably give some hints of to what might happen.
That's out there. Ooh.
Yeah, January 9th is when the last one. So we're doing one in mid-December. So it'll be probably like, maybe like we're doing like a mid-season recap or something. But like I said, Carla might be joining us in these. I don't know if Aaron wants to join us in some of these. Aaron A didn't say. So if you want to join us, you were with us on our American Horror Story loveliness. This is a lot less painful.
Yeah.
It's a lot more enjoyable. I mean, you have bad hair. You don't have good hair. But
there's no bad Nixon. There's no bad writing.
Yeah, there's no aliens, at least not yet. I mean,
no, they won't go aliens. They're still rooted in some sort of realism.
Erin says maybe. She says maybe. But anyway, so we will be doing this at the same time. I moved it an hour because this is already better than 5 episodes of Death Valley. Hell yeah. But I moved it just because I know when we started doing the live streams, that was late to be doing that. I know it was late for Jen. It was late for everybody. And then now with Carla's in the East Coast. So it was definitely going to be like too late. So she really wants to join. She's hoping she'll be able to join next Thursday. Yay. Because I want to get her thoughts. I really wanted to get her thoughts on this first episode too, but I'm glad we didn't. Although I did have to hear about the mouth breathing. What am I talking about? You talking about the mouth breathing. But that'll be fun. So next Thursday, 7 p.m. and then 8:15 for the live stream. I'm making it 8:15 because each episode is almost an hour. So it's nice to have that little bit of a buffer in between. And then join us if you're watching this and you end up watching it later too. Join us Saturday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So 6 Pacific, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. We are going to be doing a special episode. We were going to be talking about BSG, but things happened and a lot of people couldn't show up all of a sudden. So, and there were a lot of people that wanted to be on it that couldn't come on, all this stuff. So we're going to be doing that next year at some point. I don't know when. It'll probably be like a 2-parter because there are so many people that want to talk about that show. I couldn't get into it. Don't hate me. But anyway, don't hate me, Aaron. Aaron,
I've never watched it.
Oh, thank you, Jen.
Not for any reason. Like, I know, but I just, it's never, I think my husband got into it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I have so very little time and so many shows. And even to go back and watch something that has been out and over and everything. I'm just like, I got John Waters shit to watch. I got Dexter's to watch.
I know. Yes, because I am recording a show this weekend. I don't know when it's dropping, but I'm recording a show this weekend with Jen on her podcast, My Streaming Bubble, talking about John Waters. And I'm very, very excited to talk about John Waters. And I'm very excited because that means next year I get to do an episode of John Waters because I finally have people that want to talk about John Waters because nobody ever wanted to talk about him. So I'm very excited about that. So, but anyway, on Saturday at that time, we're going to do a live stream doing basically what we're into. We did an episode like that earlier this year and it was really popular. Really, people liked it. So we're going to try and incorporate stuff like that into everything next year. And what you're going to see on this live stream is we're going to talk about the movie, and it isn't just because of Finn Wittrock. Honestly, that's not why this movie means a lot to me, but we're going to talk about the movie A Mouthful of Air a little bit on what we're into. That'll be towards the end thing. Erin A will probably be on this podcast as well, and she saw the movie with me, so I don't know if she'll want to give some of her thoughts too. But we're going to give you a sneak preview of something that we're going to start doing, movie reviews. Those are mainly going to be live streams. And oh, hi, Fergie. The dog just came up here. Hi, you want to be on camera? But Finn doesn't. So many feels for, but Finn doesn't hurt. Oh, what? So I don't get what, huh? Oh, but Finn doesn't hurt with watching the movie. I'm sorry. I'm so slow.
That took me a second too, because I thought it was still related to the BSG. I was like, wait, when was he in that? What?
Okay. Yeah, no, it doesn't hurt having him in there, but and the fact that he liked a tweet I was mentioning and then a tweet that was mine. Sorry. That was still just amazing. But anyway, so we're going to be doing that where we're going to review a movie and then talk about some of the trailers we might have seen, and then we're going to share these with dog hair just went flying.
For a second, I thought maybe like the dog farted. And you were just like, oh my God.
She did just burp. Fergie heard you talking about Finn. That's exactly. She's like, oh my gosh, she's talking about that guy again. What
got all excited.
I always have to see him, hear about him. Anyway, so we are going to be talking about that movie, and so that'll be towards the end of it. And yeah, I because that movie just meant a lot to your host personally. It was very hard for your host to watch it, but it meant a lot. So we're going to talk about that one, but we are going to be doing movie reviews, and we're going to have people vote on what we review next. Like I'll do a poll of movies that are coming out, and we'll do a review and all that jazz. Those will only be live streams right now. I might release them as like special episodes or something, but I don't want to add more to my
plate. No shit.
I already add more to my plate all the time. What am I talking about? But anyway,
I did a brand new spreadsheet the other day to track birthdays.
Yes. Okay. I want to share this really quickly because we're gonna do an episode next year about conspiracy theories amongst pop culture. And the reason this started is there was a tweet that was out about how Wes Bentley and Max Greenfield had the same birth date, and they both were in a hotel together. So they were both in a Ryan Murphy American Horror Story thing. And the big joke is he always casts actors that they all look the same. Like they all do you have some of Fergie's hair there?
Yeah, I think it came through. I got a little
sorry. No, that was funny because I was just picturing Fergie's hair flying through the air. And so we have this DM. And so we were like, so I said, not only does they have to look alike, but they have to share the same birthday. And then Jen looked up, you looked up Finn, and his birthday's in October. And so then I went and looked up Matt Bomer's birthday, and his is in October. So then that took us on this whole thing where we're like, okay, maybe he has to have 2 people per month. And then we really did. I swear, we
just went down that fucking rabbit hole. Like how long was that? It was time ceased to exist because I was like,
I know.
We might be onto something.
I know. And then it was like, oh, and this person, I'm like, oh, but this person's born this month. Oh, well, this person's also born in that month. And so I created a whole spreadsheet for every month. And all these actors went through a bunch of them. And then I went, okay, I can't do this anymore. And so far, it appears that October is Ryan Murphy's favorite month. Mm-hmm. So far, there's 5 people in October. 5. And it's a pretty nice list of people. But
that's what we do in our free time, folks.
Yes. So anyway, so we're going to be doing an episode next year about that stuff. So this will, I'm sure, come into play because I'm going to have to really figure out, like, because what I figured out, this is what I figured out with Matt Bomer and Finn Whitrock is, okay, so sorry you got me on this.
It's a little teaser. It's a little teaser for the conspiracy episode.
This is why this show will never leave me alone. But anyway, so I figured out that we're pretty much done with Dexter. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thanks for joining the Dexter chat. Now we're going to rail on American Horror again.
It'll be really quickly, I promise. But anyway, so what I figured is in Freak Show, Finn Whitrock's character, Dandy Mott, kills Matt Bomer's character. I don't know what his character's name was. Doesn't matter. He kills him. He was hardly in it. And kills him in a bus, or it was Twisty's car, right? It was Twisty's bus.
I don't recall.
You're like, whatever, Aaron.
He died. It was so long ago. So many
I just rewatched this recently, so that's why it's probably fresh in my mind. Anyway, so he kills him, and then you cut to hotel, and then they're both vying for the Countess's affections. The Countess changes both of them, both Matt Bomer and Finn Whitrock. And then later on, after Tristan is gone, and then Rudolph Valentino's there, and then later on, Matt Bomer kills Finn Whitrock. See? That was the connection.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has that line, cheekbones for days. You know, I mean, yeah.
Oh.
So that was one connection. So I'm going to keep working him.
I'm sure we can find it. It's such a huge... all the different people that have been on American Horror Story, even just like one episode here or there, like that is a long ass cast list.
Well, that's what I did was I started going through every episode.
Oh my God.
And I was like just picking out people that have been in more than one season or more than one episode and put them on there. And that's why I was kind of like, okay, I can't do this anymore. This is getting ridiculous. Aaron, you got to stop this. So I stopped, but yeah, it's very, I know, Fergie, I see you. She's like, please stop talking about this.
She's like, pay attention to me. Come on.
Yep. So anyway, so we totally went off the rails there, but we will be back talking about Dexter. I promise it will be just about Dexter. But we talked about Dexter for like an hour. When do I talk about? It's not like this the whole time doing this. But anyway, so look for that episode and tune in on Saturday for that one. And tomorrow we are releasing our episode talking about conventions. So that was fun. That's the longest episode we've released in a while. It's like 2.5 hours long. I have been so blessed with short episodes. So the blessings.
You're lucky. You're lucky. I'm a talker, and then I have talkers on, and then I have like 3 hours to fucking edit. And I'm just like, this is so hard because it's all so funny.
No, yeah, I know.
No, yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
The way most of my episodes were for months, was like 3 hours, and I'm trying to edit it down to at least 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a whole break from that. And that's why I now have a new thing. Sorry, we shouldn't even talk about this on here.
Yeah, sorry.
There's about this. It's one of those things that I'm like, oh yeah, we're live.
Yeah, we're still on.
Anyone can come and watch this part and be like, who the fuck cares? We don't care.
Like Harrison. Oh, brought it back.
Like Harrison. No one cares about Harrison. Why is Harrison here?
I kind of don't. We'll see if that changes though. It can.
But he's not a little kid anymore.
He's not a little kid, but he might be just a little shit. Because that would have been
really flipping weird.
I did like how Dexter looked like complete and utter shit when he went back to go get Harrison at the bus station. When he was sitting there and he's like, he looked like he ran there. He looked like he hadn't slept in days, and then he ran. I don't know. There was just something. He looked
Well,
You already look tired.
He just murdered someone. He just chopped up their body.
Practice,
He
yeah.
just
Good point. But he's been doing all that
lot.
cardio, chasing that white deer. That's a lot. He should be. Anyways,
well, he's also eating nachos every night and donuts and tuna fish sandwiches. So
not that day though. Maybe that's why.
That's what it was. He needed that tuna. That's why he killed too. He's like, fuck this, man. I don't get my tuna fish. I'm killing.
Yep. Like I'm done. Fucking done. That was it.
That's what pushed him over the edge. That damn tuna fish sandwich. See, we went back to Dexter.
See, we brought it back. Yeah, there we go.
So next week we will find out if Harrison is a murderer like his dad, if Angela gets a clue as to who she's screwing. If Deb comes back, I'm sure she will. So we have the answer to that. But if we get to see Arthur and if Dexter gets his tuna fish sandwich, the most important question is that last one.
Oh, I hope that man. I mean, good God, he's got to get at least. If that man doesn't get at least one tuna fish sandwich, we don't see him eating it at least once throughout the season, I'd be very, very concerned.
Maybe right before he dies, they're like, "Here's a tuna fish sandwich."
It's like his final meal.
What would you like for your final meal, Dexter? A tuna fish sandwich. And that's the last line.
Oh my God.
I don't want that to happen, by the way.
No, I don't either. Even though he'd still be dead, that's not good enough. No. All right.
Any final words? Just wanted a damn tuna fish sandwich.
Only I got my damn sandwich.
And I've been bringing you people these stupid donuts for years. I'm getting my tuna fish sandwich.
Couldn't get me my fucking sandwich.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching Aaron A. and the other people that popped in and out and went, this is not for me. Thank you. We will be back next Thursday with more fun. And yeah, and hopefully not a lot of talking about mouth breathing. But I'm the one who's brought it up more than anybody else. So it's my fault. Okay. Well, good night. Good night. Bye. 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 So until next time when we say this, tonight's the night. I don't think we said that. So maybe we did. Anyway, bye.